Welcome to another episode of Jay Leno's Garage. This week we're featuring this 1956 Chevy Nomad. This is a Restomod. If you saw the TV show Overhaulin a few years ago, you might have seen this car. This is a car we stole from my friend Dave Killackey. You know Dave, he's been on this website before. He owns Performance Allison Transmissions. Dave, come on in here. How you doing?
I'm doing good. We have the same tailor.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. That's right. Obviously not the same chef. Now, what happened was, Dave had this car sitting in his yard. How long had you had it?
10 years or so.
10 years, and he was always going to get around to restoring it, but having 3 kids and running a business and doing all the things, like a lot of us, never got around to it. So what they do on the TV show Overhaulin is they steal the car from the guy, and they get all upset, and then quickly redo it, and then we unveiled it as a finished car here at the shop. But it was kind of funny because we had the car stolen from your yard. Your son was in on it.
Yes, yeah.
Son was in on it, and Dave was all upset. And we sent a guy dressed as a police officer, a drunken guy, down to talk to you. And he had a hip flask, and remember he came in and he was in, Dave said, "What is that alcohol?" No.
I feel bad for the guy.
Yeah, and the guy was just loaded and he got all the facts wrong. And Dave calls me up. This cop came down and heck, he didn't even know what kind of car it was. And he thought it was an Oldsmobile and it was a Chevy. And Dave, I'm sure he'll do it good. No, the guy was drinking. I'm going to call this captain. I'm going to turn him in. Dave was just furious as this drunken police officer showed up.
They're never fighting my car with this guy.
Yeah. So it was hilarious. And anyway, we rebuilt the car with the 572 and we unveiled it to Dave here at my garage. Well, here's that little segment. So what's the car like? What is it, 6 years later?
I think it's 6 years now, yeah.
Easy 6 years later. And you've been using it quite a bit. Tell us about it. What's it like to have a show car that you use every day?
Yeah, it gets a really good response at the car shows.
Yeah.
And not just because of the overhauling, because some people don't know. It's really amazing what they did in 7 days.
Yeah.
And they think, well, how many years did this take you to restore?
Right.
I said, it took me 7 days.
Yeah.
And then I explained to them how it happened.
Right.
But, it runs real good. The suspension they put on it is good. For a big round car, it actually handles like a more modern car.
Right. I remember you had some trouble with the tires were scraping a little bit. There were a few things, because you really can't do a car like this in 7 days. You you can make it look good, but then you kind of go back and you go through everything again.
We did. We straightened out a little wiring. We got the tires to not rub. I put a gear vendor overdrive in afterwards to keep the engine RPMs down. It was real loud, and I'm up at 3,500 RPM. So now it's down around 2,500 RPMs on the freeway, doing 70. It really works good, and it runs good. It doesn't overheat. They did all the cooling really good for this engine.
Yeah. Let's open the hood up. Let's show people what we have here. You know, show cars are fun, but they're not as much fun as a car you can actually use and drive every day. And there you go. That looks like, just like the engine in mine. That's a great motor, this 572 crate motor. It makes all kinds of horsepower, 650 right out of the box.
Yeah.
And you've got air conditioning, and you've got, just all the modern stuff that the modern car would have. Dual master braking, of course.
Power brakes, power steering.
Yeah.
What I like about this engine is, and I've had a lot of cars with big blocks, they don't really put around real good. They overheat or they load up.
Right.
This one, really, you can ask it to do anything, and it does it just fine. You can race it, you can put it around, and it always seems to run real well.
Yeah, that's a nice thing about getting a crate motor, because a lot of times somebody else, one guy does your suspension, somebody else does your transmission, somebody else does your engine, and it doesn't always match up.
Yeah.
When you get like one of these Chevy crate motors, they're guaranteed. Everything's been you know, built to specific specifications. It isn't one guy doing the pistons, another guy doing the cam, and then the thing doesn't run right. Who do you blame? The nice thing is you buy it, it comes in a box, it's all done, you drop it in, and you go. And it's classic carbureted, you know, just like it would have been back in the day. So it's not like it's fuel injection or anything like that. Pretty easy to work on. As you can see, the car looks great after 5 or 6 years, and I have to admit, we just decided to shoot this today, so it's not like we went through and detailed it or anything.
Yeah, no, it's just, of course, I keep it here at your garage, and there's no better place to keep your car than at Leno's garage. So.
And you can tell Dave has been driving it because, oh my gosh, there's Kentucky Fried Chicken, there's McDonald's, there's ketchup packet stains, every kind of fast food has been eaten in this car. So that's an amazing amount of wear and tear right there. But as you can see, it's a good looking vehicle. Is that the stock wheel?
No.
No, that's not the stock wheel, of course not.
Since it's got power steering, they were able to go to a smaller wheel. Fits around my stomach much better.
Yeah,
I could never get into it with the full-size steering wheel.
Yeah, you can't have that. You can't have that. Very nice. Very nicely done. See, it says 572 Air up here. Some nice touches. You know, I like Restomods, like my Buick, like this car, that keep the initial styling and the initial look of the original automobile. I'm not a big fan of chop tops and all that kind of stuff. I think people going back to the original styling. This is just nice and subtle, 572 back here, little Overhaulin sticker on there.
You know, what I liked about the Nomad is, versus the regular wagon, is the roofline is 2.5 inches lower.
Yeah,
so it kind of looks like a factory shop.
Yeah.
It's so much cleaner. They have the pillars tilted forward, had a little more style than the regular wagon. So.
And it is a two-door, and you got those custom wheels. I must say, for me, I would like original style wheels with original style hubcaps.
Yeah.
That just to have that kind of, hey, is that hot rodded? You know, so people don't know.
We're gonna have to talk to Chip Foose about that.
We'll talk to Chip about that. But those wheels are certainly nice. Those are nice Foose wheels. The interesting thing is, in the whole 6 years this car's been here, I have never driven it. So let's take it for a ride.
Let's go.
See what she does. These make great cruising cars. I love this 572 motor. You know, this car's a lot like Dave. It's got bad gas. You always want to put something like stable in your fuel to make sure that the gas doesn't go bad. It's not too bad, but you know, modern gasoline, especially here in California, it'll go off in as little as 2 to 3 months. Well, it's our job to blow that bad fuel out of there. Dave says we've got to change the torque converter in this thing. It'll light off a little bit better. Isn't that right?
Right.
Yeah. As a Restomod, it can also be kind of a family car because you can actually carry stuff in the back, dogs or lumber or whatever you want to put back there.
Lumber. Let's go to Home Depot.
Yeah, let's go to Home Depot and get some lumber. This is a classic arm out the window car. I know it's got air conditioning, but it doesn't feel right. You gotta have the window down, arm out the window, get nice and tan here. You know, just a few modifications like better brakes and stuff. Older cars can really be fun to drive and safe too. You know, this is the classic American post-war hot rod. Any of the Tri-5 Chevys, 55, 56, 57, you know, it's interesting. When these came out, they weren't that big of sellers. The 56, 57 Fords outsold them 3 to 1, 4 to 1, something like that.
They only made 6,500 56s.
Yeah, only made 60, Nomads you mean?
56 Nomads, only 6,500.
Only 6,500 of the 56 Nomads, so they weren't very popular then. But 10 years later, when they became secondhand, and this, of course, the classic small block Chevy motor, the iconic small block Chevy, made them what they are today. Pretty good transformation from the rust bucket it started out to be. Let's take it back to the shop and see if it'll do a burnout. Dave has never done a burnout in this car. Now, it needs a new torque converter, is that correct?
Yeah, it's got the wrong torque converter. I think it's got one that's out of a stock Chevy pickup truck. Really low stall. It really needs a higher stall converter, something that hooks up a little quicker.
Well, that just sounds like a bunch of excuses to me, but we'll see. Let's see how it does. Not bad. See you next week.